Hi, everybody. I'm Dave Froehlich. Thanks for watching this CrimeWatch YouTube exclusive. We're taking a look back at recent crime stories that have been making headlines in our area and across the state. State leaders are honoring an Austin police officer who was killed over Veterans Day weekend. Meanwhile, we're learning more about how a stabbing call eventually led to that deadly shootout in South Austin. Here's Fox 7 Austin's Tan Radford with more.
We forced entry and a suspect with a possibly brown vest fired at officers as soon as we forced entry with a rifle.
Caution tape and investigators are evidence of the deadly shooting that happened early Saturday morning on Bernally Drive, leaving neighbors in disbelief.
It's super peaceful. Everyone is really friendly. Everyone is really kind. It's like a nice Texas neighborhood. We've never had any issues. Yeah, so this is definitely, it's a shock. Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened with the family, the house that they were in, and I'm sure that it's really scary for everyone that's involved.
According to APD, officers were called to the South Austin neighborhood for a stabbing. Upon arrival, police were met by a victim with a stab wound, and the suspect was holding two victims hostage inside the home. At 3 a.m., officers made emergency force entry into the house. SWAT was called to assist around 4 a.m. Upon entry, gunfire was exchanged between the suspect and officers. Audio from the police scanners reveal what happened next.
Officer needs assistance. Officer needs assistance. Spring 701-9308 Bernally Drive. Shots fired.
Did officers take the shots or were they fired upon?
Well, memorial services have been set for Friday for Officer Pastor. Those services will begin at 8 a.m. from Weed Corley Fish Funeral Home. Visitation starts at 9:30 with the funeral service starting at 11 at the Germania Insurance Amphitheater. Police honors will immediately follow the service in the Cedar parking lot. Cedar Park police are still investigating a disturbing incident in which they say a rideshare passenger died after apparently jumping out of a moving car. Here's more from Fox 7 Austin's John Krinjak.
The Monday morning commute turning tragic in Cedar Park.
The customers were in letting us know that there had been a bad crash.
Around 6:30, cops got an unusual call from a rideshare driver who was headed north on the 183A tollway near the HEB Center.
The Cedar Park Police Department received a call from a rideshare driver stating that a passenger had jumped from the moving vehicle.
The rider bailing out of the car right near the Scottsdale Drive overpass.
Officers responded. We located a deceased person in that vicinity.
It was some kind of barricade around the body at that time.
Cedar Park PD quickly shutting down that side of the tollway.
Cedar Park police have closed the northbound lane. That's the toll road from Whitestone Boulevard to Crystal Falls Parkway.
Snarling rush hour traffic.
They were late for work, a lot of them this morning, and we're having to find alternate routes, to get to where they needed to be.
The tollway reopened around 10 o'clock Monday morning, but still a lot of unanswered questions about what exactly led up to this.
That's going to be the ongoing investigation to figure out everything that occurred.
Cedar Park PD's Criminal Investigations Division is now looking into how and why this happened.
I don't know. What were they trying to get away from, or why did they feel the need to do that? I can't imagine.
Janet Sterling is the assistant manager at the Circle K on New Hope Drive, just feet away from the scene. She says she's still in shock.
Very much so that anybody would jump out of anything moving on the highways here in Texas. It's just not something you do, without thinking about it. I really am sorry for the family, whoever it is.
In Cedar Park, I'm John Krinjak, Fox 7 Austin News.
Testimony in the Caitlyn Armstrong murder trial continues as day 8 focused on DNA evidence. Prosecutors say the evidence links Armstrong to pro cyclist Anna Mariah Wilson's death, as well as Armstrong's attempt to escape custody in October. But the defense is arguing that's far from conclusive. Fox 7 Austin's John Krinjak has this story as well, and we do want to warn you, some of the details you're about to hear may be disturbing.
Prosecutors in the Caitlyn Armstrong murder trial showcasing DNA evidence Tuesday that they say shows Armstrong killed Mariah Wilson at an East Austin home back in May of 2022. Taking the stand was Samantha Perkins, a DNA supervisor with DPS, who analyzed DNA swabbed from Wilson's bike and Armstrong's gun, among other things, against samples from Armstrong, Wilson, Armstrong's ex, Colin Strickland, and Caitlyn Cash, whose home Wilson's body was found in. Perkins says the evidence indicates Armstrong and Strickland's DNA were both on the gun. Cash's and Wilson's DNA were not. Meanwhile, Armstrong and Wilson's DNA were found on Wilson's bike. Caitlyn Cash and Strickland's DNA were not.
There was a very strong likelihood that the DNA on the handlebars included DNA from Caitlyn Armstrong.
Questioned by the defense, Perkins acknowledges the evidence indicates DNA from another unknown person was also found on the gun as well as the bike, and that Armstrong's Jeep was not tested for DNA at all.
That the state's purported forensic science is inaccurate, is unreliable, and unscientific.
Prosecutors also called to the stand Deputy Medical Examiner Dr. Bernadette DeRusi, who did Wilson's autopsy the day after she died. She showed the jury photos of Wilson's wounds, 3 gunshots going through her face, head, and chest, another gunshot wound on her finger. Wilson also had defensive wounds indicating she was fending off an attacker. Another focus Tuesday was Armstrong's attempted escape from custody a month ago.
19 days before this trial began, and Caitlyn Armstrong escaped from the Travis County Jail and was apprehended about a mile down the road.
One of 2 Travis County officers who took Armstrong to a doctor's appointment that day took the stand. She said Armstrong slipped away while a nurse spoke to the officers and didn't have ankle restraints on because of doctor's orders. Prosecutors showed the jury 3 videos of Armstrong fleeing on foot and the officers chasing after. The officer testified Armstrong seemed calm after she was captured.
Leander police are asking for help as they try to find 4 people who stole from a liquor store while they brought 2 children along. As Fox 7 Austin's Angela Shin reports, police say they believe the suspects were using those kids to avoid suspicion, since most people wouldn't guess that children have liquor bottles in their backpacks.
Take a good look at these photos. Leander police need help figuring out who these suspects are. They say on the evening of November 4th, 2 men and 2 women went into the Twin Liquors store on US 183 in Leander. They had 2 middle school-aged children with them.
But in this specific incident, the children, we believe, were just used as a ruse to come into the store.
Police say part of the group distracted the store employee while the others stole 3 bottles of liquor, hiding them with the kids.
One of them brought up a bottle to the front clerks and was asking questions about that, while the other individuals put liquor bottles in the children's backpacks.
They were seen leaving in a black Toyota sedan. The 4 suspects are believed to be involved in similar thefts in 3 other stores in the Cedar Park and North Austin areas. If the suspects are caught and interviewed, police would also figure out who the kids are and talk to them too.
They would be interviewed as far as what's going on in home life, school life. Is there any other type of criminal activity occurring with the family? The kids will be interviewed extensively about everything going on.
Lieutenant Mueller says the suspects would likely face charges of theft and engaging in organized criminal activity. He says in his over 2 decades of experience, this is the first time he's seen people use kids like this in a liquor store theft, though he has seen it in department store thefts.
It happens, and thank goodness it doesn't happen quite often, that often, but it does happen. This is one of the first instances in Leander that I'm aware of that people have used children in this manner.
A man wanted in connection with a mass shooting at a Pearland flea market that left a 10-year-old boy dead is now in police custody. 19-year-old David Negrete had turned himself in at the Brazoria County Jail. He's charged with aggravated assault after the shooting on November 12th. A 10-year-old boy was killed. 4 others were injured, including a 14-year-old girl and 37-year-old man. 2 other teenagers have also been arrested in connection with this shooting. The wife of a man who was shot and killed at Prairie View A&M University says her husband feared for his life. He'd had a fight with a now suspected gunman 3 months before that murder. Fox's Natalie He has that story.
My husband was only 31. This is really the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. myself, my family, my kids, especially my kids.
With the help of her family, Mia Wilder is mustering up all the strength she has left for her 4 kids, an 11, 7, 4, and 3-year-old now left without their father.
We always talked about sending them to college. And you'll never get to see him play football for middle school.
On Monday morning, Mia says her husband, Kendrick Wilder Sr., went to work at Prairie View A&M's farm when investigators say he was shot multiple times in the back. The Waller County DA's office confirms that 31-year-old Devin Elliott Rhodes is the suspect in the deadly shooting. Investigators say Rhodes has been charged with murder as of Monday. Records show he was out on bond from a separate, unrelated charge in Harris County. Mia identifies Rhodes as an ex-co-worker of Kendrick's at the university.
He got fired 3 months ago, and he's been thinking about it this whole time. And they knew he was violent because he attacked my husband at work before, and my husband got suspended. They decided to let my husband come back because he worked there for 8 years. He was actually supposed to be promoted to be a supervisor, like literally next week.
Mia says her husband had raised concerns after he and Rhodes got into a fight 3 months before the murder. She claims nothing was ever done.
He even told HR he feared for his life. And what my husband did when they were interviewing him, they failed him. Then, just to know the person that did it shouldn't have been allowed on the campus. They didn't have the gates locked like they were supposed to.
A University of Texas graduate is the world's most successful forensic sketch artist. Lois Gibson has created realistic portraits that have helped detectives identify hundreds of violent criminals across the country. Here's more from Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis.
I get to see the sketch and they show the arrest of the guy. And I got one and it's addicting and I want more. I want to get another one. I don't want to stop.
And she didn't for 40 years.
I've talked to everybody or anybody that's been through the worst thing that you hear on the news that night, and you sit there and watch the news and go, somebody needs to do something. Then I get a call and I go down and I get to do something.
And not with a badge or gun, with an easel and charcoal. Lois Gibson meets people whose lives have been stricken by burglars, murderers, and abusers.
You gotta make the witness laugh. That's the holy grail of a great interview.
And she uses what they say and how they describe the felon, as well as a book.
It has different lips, noses, eyes, eyebrows.
For the victim to choose from to construct a portrait.
If your witness is telling the truth, it's 100% going to look like him.
And if they say they didn't see the face,
what kind of expression did he have? They'll answer it. When they answer that, you know they saw a face and you do the sketch. What kind of hair did they have? Everybody remembers hair. Humans are obsessed with hair. That's why high school is so hard. So yeah, they get the hair, and then once they get the hair, you give them the catalog and say, you know, just guess.
And it's worked. Her sketches have helped detectives solve more than 1,200 violent crimes.
It looks like she posed for it.
And lock up some 750 of the most vicious killers on the run.
Bada bing, solved.
She's also recreated images of unidentified murder victims, like baby Grace, who had been locked in a plastic box floating in Galveston Bay in 2007. She examined the decomposed remains, produced a drawing of the toddler, and just days after it was broadcasted, the girl's grandmother in Ohio recognized the child as Riley Ann Sawyers.
You did it. It's over. It's her.
Gibson's goal now to help others become forensic artists, as there's few, only one in Austin. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch.
Thanks for watching the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch YouTube exclusive. Our Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News at 9. If you missed them, you can watch anytime on our new Fox Local Connected TV app, which is free to download, and you can watch on Roku and Android TV, Apple TV, Fire TV, and now Vizio. For more on the stories highlighted in this episode, you can head to our website, fox7austin.com, and don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel.